points in a sec. Ben Buckley also said that Canberra was the obvious choice for the next A-League licence if the FFA chooses to go beyond 12 teams in the future. But speaking to the World Game today, Canberra bid chief Ivan Slavic says 2012 and beyond may be too late for the nation's capital.
I have many foundation members saying, look, when do we get our money back for the failed bid? I'll have a meeting with the ACT government this week with regard to the support that they provided, and I'm concerned that momentum is now being lost and we could miss this opportunity to have the national capital represented in the A-League. Well, I think the real concern, and the Minister for Sport, Andrew Barr, from the ACT government has said publicly that if we don't have an A-League team for Canberra, how can the ACT government justify expenditure on a stadium for 2018 World Cup? And we know we need 10 stadiums over 40,000 to host the World Cup. And the concern I have is if that momentum is lost now for Canberra, we won't have potentially the facility in place for the World Cup bid. So I'm concerned about that as well.
OK, those meetings are taking place this week between the ACT government and Ivan Slavic. I must say Ivan is from the west of Sydney, and he did say, Ian, that he supports in principle a West Sydney bid because he believes it's the heartland of football. To that end, and Craig has played in the west with Marconi and Sydney United. How are you going to engage the public of West Sydney?
Well, we've made our first step this week for you guys, if you haven't seen it. We applied for some naming registration with the FFA, and that's quite a normal process. You know, you apply for application, then they license the name back to you. And we had a number of names along the way that we were interested in, so once the name had got out in the public domain, we immediately went out, as you do in today's world, on the internet, on blogs and some of the football sites, and said to people, this is our thinking. This is the direction we're thinking of going, and you can see it here now, the Sydney Rovers. In fact, you can see probably the statement that we put out to people. Yes. You know, we told them what we were doing directionally, why we were doing it. We chose Rovers because we think it's a traditional football name, and we know people want a traditional football name. Yeah. I personally love Rangers, Rovers, Wanderers, so they were all options for us.
So is it...
FFA have registered Wanderers as well.
Okay.
So.
Is it a consultative process? That's the question. Are you, I mean, are you... Because you've got time.
Yep.
You've got the luxury of time, which most clubs have never had. So are you actually going to go to the market, and in which respects? Are you going to the community to say what is it that you want from a club? And what is that process? Will there be a website where people can go and join in? Or?
There will be. There'll be. Right now we're out there on certain football blogs. Eventually we'll develop a website.
Well, I trust the worldgame.com.au is one of them.
There you go.
Okay.
We will also listen to people. It's really important that we listen and we hear from people. That doesn't mean we'll accept everything we hear. It's not a democracy in total terms. We want great thinking. We think we've done great thinking to date. We want to hear what people have to say, and if we find that we're wrong, we'll adjust. Now, the great news over the weekend is what we've heard in response to what we put out is, this looks really great. This is fantastic. 3 days after you announce, you have a name, you have a logo, and you've got something to say to us.
Well, Ian, this might interest you because during the week, the World Games, Mariana Rowden ventured out to Sydney's west to ask the locals whether they would support a Western Sydney A-League team.
I think they would, because I think over the last few years, soccer, the fans of soccer have been increasing. So, yeah, so hopefully it'll become more popular. Okay. So, yeah.
Excellent. Did you hear there's a new Western Sydney A-League club entering the competition next year?
No.
No? If there was, would you go watch them?
Sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're not really a...
I'm not really a soccer fan, but I'll probably go watch them.
What, 1 game, 2 games?
Couple games.
Do you know about the A-League?
No.
Do you know what the A-League is?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks, girls. Did you know that there was a Western Sydney A-League team coming into the competition?
I'd read something about that, yeah, because the Western Suburbs has missed out for years, hasn't it?
Would you follow them if they came?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It'd be a good family occasion.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's all league country here, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, good on you.
I don't go to soccer matches, but I guess I watch the big ones on TV. Okay. So I like live sport. I probably wouldn't follow it on TV, but maybe go to a game.
I think with all the younger kids and the other, you know, you've always got soccer or something on a weekend, there's always the sports or something on a weekend. I think that there's enough younger kids that will get behind it, and yeah, I can't see why it wouldn't work.
Okay, but they're also thinking of bringing a new AFL club in the West. Do you think that's going to cause competition?
I don't know if it would take off. What's AFL?
There's a piece of market research for Ian Rowden, who's sitting next to me with Craig Foster. Ian, they were really interesting comments. What can you learn from what the other clubs have done well in the A-League and done poorly?
Well, I think, and you saw it here, and you look at the people and what they say, you can see the multi-dimensions of the audience you have to deal with. There's a great steeped history in football in the West with some great clubs, and there's been some great stories, and then there's some disasters. So we will reach out. We've said from day one, we're going to build this club from the ground up, and people like Charlie will take the lead on that from a board member point of view. We'll go and we'll talk to all the state league clubs. We'll go and talk to all the local clubs in the greater district that we're going to try and pull people from. And this is a huge area too, by the way. And we don't want to limit ourselves. We want to build an inclusive club. We want to build a club that doesn't exclude anyone. And that's what we're going to do. We've got time. We'll keep going back and informing people of the steps we're taking, the progress we're making. And we're going to listen, and that's what you do as you build a strong business.
I'm sure this is going to be the first of many chats we'll have on the World Game. Ian, thanks for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, David. It's great to be here, and to you too, Craig. Thanks very much.
All the best.